Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all well. BBC News. Sure, everybody's heard of the British Bullshit Corporation. The government mouthpiece. We have to pay a TV license to be propaganded in England. Yeah, we pay a TV license to the BBC. It makes no sense, to be honest. I haven't had one myself in about 13 years, 14 years now. I refuse to pay to be made stupid by the mainstream media. And I'm not paying for the telly license. It's moronic. Nobody else in the world has one. And quite frankly, I'm not fucking paying it. So there you go. Anyway, Andrew, Prince, stripped of Prince title and will move out of Royal Lodge. Obviously, all to do with the Epstein affair. I mean, this Epstein thing, it goes real high, and it celebrities, politicians, royalty, billionaires. Again, I made the video of the woman who was pictured with Prince Andrew, and some of her tales before she died. Again, a bit suspicious of dying here, but there's a lot of it goes on in these circles with these people who know too much. To be honest, again, I've got a bit of a video here. Isaac Cappy, the Hollywood insider who knew too much. Got a few things, like there's loads of this in the background, like loads you wouldn't believe. I watched another one last night. Um, I can't remember the name of that one, but again, it was a similar. It was another paedophile ring of somebody who was linked to Epstein as well. To be honest, in the end up, I'll maybe bring the video forth. It was very interesting, to be honest. It's all in these general lines of the big paedophile ring in the background here and how high it goes. And it's all been covered up, and Trump's probably in there, and as well as a lot of other names. So, yeah, there's a very, very, very high profile um, paedophile ring that's kept under the rug here. And there's, well, billionaires, royalty, politicians, they're all in the upper echelons of it. So, anyway, we'll play a bit of this, and we'll move on to the paedophile ring.
Let's bring you some breaking news that has come to us in the last minute or so from Buckingham Palace. His Majesty the King has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles and honours of Prince Andrew. This statement coming into us in the last 10 or so seconds from Buckingham Palace. And I'm going to read to you exactly what this statement says. Prince Andrew will now be known
as a pedo worldwide by everybody. And again, he's just the one taking the fall for all this. This goes real higher, and this is just putting out the fire. That's all they're doing. Putting out the fire, public opinion. It doesn't look right. We have to remove him. We have to make it look like we're against paedophilia, even though we're massively involved in the paedophile network. So that's kind of the crack, to be honest. It's all bullshit. They know full well what he's been up to. They've known full well the whole time. And they don't really care, but they do care that the public care, so they have to make it look like they care, is kind of what's going on here. But everybody in the background know full well what he's been up to this entire time. There's many stories of young women coming to the palace at night, and there's an ex-royal guard doing a full interview I've seen, mentioning Andrew getting girls, not underage, they were always in their 20s when he was about 40 odd, but he likes young women. They were probably all escorts, to be honest, from the London area. Yeah, there's many, many tales of that kind of thing goes on. And again, what the media tells you and what really goes on is literally a world apart at this point. So this is just putting out the fire, but they're well aware what's been going on.
As Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. His lease on Royal Lodge has, to date, provided him with legal protection to continue in residence. Formal notice has now been served to surrender the lease, and he will move to alternative private accommodation. These censors,
which we will probably still fucking pay for, to be honest,
are deemed necessary, notwithstanding the fact that he continues to deny the allegations against him. Their Majesty
Yeah, of course he does. I mean, the minute you admit, I mean, DJ Media is another good example of this, and he will not face the fire now, but that's because the minute he makes a video admitting that he's a sexual offender and on the sexual offenders register, he's absolutely fucked. So, a kind of you're better off not admitting it, seems to be the way of things, and here's more proof of it as Andrew does exactly the same thing.
Majesties wish to make clear that their thoughts and utmost sympathies have been and will remain with the victims and survivors.
Well, that's absolute bollocks as well. What a lie. Absolute. Condemn what you do. Condemn what you do is very much the way of things in this world with these people. All that's bollocks. All that's bullshit. They know full well what he's been up to. It's far, far worse than what you've been told. There's far, far more people involved than what you've been told. And yeah, all this is just bullshit for the public, to be honest. Bullshit for the public. So, Isaac Kappy, let's move on. He exposed a man who tried to expose Hollywood and what was going on, and the paedophile ring ended up dead and thrown off a bridge, apparently suicide, or he said he wasn't suicidal. And there's plenty more of these people, to be honest. And I'll just play this one, but there was actually a better video of this bigger paedophile ring that was being exposed, but then ultimately got covered up in the end again. I'll maybe mention the video on the end of this. I'll play a bit of this one anyhow. Isaac Kappy. Yep.
Into the story, let me give you a quick disclaimer. What you're about to hear are just theories. A tangled web of events I've gathered from the deepest corners of the internet. Some details might be wrong. Some things might be off. But this is how the internet has woven together the chilling tale of Isaac Kappy. As we unravel these mysteries, ask yourself, is this just another conspiracy, or is there something far more sinister at play? It started like any other day, scrolling through my Twitter timeline, mindlessly passing post after post. But then, something caught my eye. A strange post from a page called Isaac's Army. You can run, but you can't hide. Was the fame and fortune worth it? I thought this must have been something to do with all the hype surrounding the Diddy case. It's the kind of thing you brush off at first. According to the internet, every celebrity's a pedophile, especially A-list heavy hitters like Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. It's just another internet conspiracy, right? I didn't think much of it at first, but then I noticed the numbers. Isaac's Army had over 300,000 followers, and that post had been viewed over 1 million times. Who's this Isaac dude with the Bob Ross haircut? I had to look into it. This is where things took a dark turn. Isaac Kappy had tragically died on May 13, 2019. The official report said suicide. He jumped off a bridge onto Route 66 in Arizona, only to be struck by a truck below. It was brutal, horrific, but it didn't make sense. His last small acting role was years before his death, so why did he have such a rabid fan base and accounts with his name to this day? There were only a few sentences about his death on Wikipedia. Besides this, there wasn't much info on him. Something seemed off, and it turns out something was off. See, Kappy had made it very clear to his followers in the months leading up to his death, he wasn't suicidal. He repeated it over and over again. I'm not suicidal.
Yeah, I mean, there's again, it can sound very far-fetched if anybody isn't really aware of what goes on. But these people committing suicide who are about to bear witness or new things is unreal. I mean, there's a similar in the other case I might mention in the end of this video. That got swept under the rug. Two people died in that case, and that's why he got swept under the rug, because the two main witnesses to the paedophile ring that had all the evidence shortly before anything could be done about it, they both committed suicide, coincidentally. So again, you kind of, you don't know who you're dealing with here. Like, this is in with the Jimmy Savile thing and Epstein. And Jimmy Savile and Epstein are nowhere near the top of this paedophile ring. I can't stress that enough, that they were more the procurer of women and girls for the paedophile rings. I've got very, very strong suspicions that the Muslim rape gangs that are currently operating within Britain and have been for maybe 30 to 40 years. I've got a very strong suspicion that them paedophile rings are being used by the upper echelons, and that's how they get the girls for the upper echelons. The Muslim rape gangs will procure girls. The ones that are wanted by the elites will be passed up, and in order and for that service, they will be allowed to sort of crack on, if in so to speak, as long as the wrong person doesn't find out. Now, in many of these cases, the one that I'll mention second, the chief of police and all sorts of people are involved here in these rings. They get upper echelon people. I mean, often how it starts, and this is a known thing from back in the day, but they seem to use children more often now because it's a lot better blackmail and hold over whoever you're trying to blackmail. They get them with either kids. It used to be women, like Madam Whiplash, she was called in London. They would go to Madam Whiplash, and they would film these politicians and various people with Madam Whiplash and getting sexual perversive things done with Madam Whiplash. And once they'd filmed them, they would blackmail them. You've got them under your belt. That kind of went by the by, and children became what they would use and film them with children, partly because the way the world went, and doing sexually weird stuff with a woman called Madam Whiplash, or one of her many women that she employed at her London establishment. Getting caught doing that didn't really hold any weight by the 90s, really. You could kind of maybe brush a lot of it off because of the way the world went. You can't brush off the paedophile and the kids, so it's a lot better hold for blackmail. So that's exactly what they do. They set people up with like young girls just on borderline age, and they maybe look older at the time. Maybe they don't know for the first one, I don't know, but that's kind of the nature of what happens. They get them with young children, or they get them with Madam Whiplash back in the day, and they film it and they blackmail them, and that's how you get everybody to do as they're told. So that's kind of what goes on, primarily with politicians, and in that way, because it's how you keep them on board with the agenda. A lot of the celebrities in the music industry and possibly the film industry, a lot of them buy into this. It's not like they actually want to be into it, because in order to be famous and seek the money and the fame, you have to sell your soul. And the amount of music artists you can go and find right now, if you want, saying that they sold their soul, I guarantee you couldn't count them on two hands, the amount of music artists that you can hear openly say that they sold their soul. So, I mean, this is all to do with devil worship as well. That's another side of it. So it's not just a metaphorical they sold their soul. It is a literal, but a lot of people will take that metaphorically and to the music industry and take it however you want, but plenty of them say it, and that's generally what they're talking about, but it depends how deep you want to go as to what they're actually meaning. But it is also to do with satanic rituals, all of this. Possibly even sacrifice, possibly even the sacrifice of children. It gets real dark and real deep, and it's very much about it's quite horrific to the point people won't believe it, but that's how they kind of get away with this, because people won't turn their head to the light and have a look because it's horrific, and it's kind of like well, it is far-fetched in many ways, I would say, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen, I suppose. At the same time, that's the other side of it. Like, a lot of people back in the day, if you'd have told them about Jimmy Savile in the 80s, they would have said, "Oh, you're crazy. It's far fetched." And then 30 years later, he comes out, what a sick man he was. Do you know what I mean? So it's all one of them. A lot of people won't, but I mean, a lot of people, when you offer them the truth, they will deny it. It's the first part of accepting the truth, denial, ridicule, visual acceptance, I think is the order there. So denial is always first. So Isaac Kappy exposing Hollywood's paedophile ring, which is the Epstein paedophile ring, which goes higher than Epstein, as I've been saying. It goes up to the politicians, royalty, and billionaires. As a woman involved in the Epstein ring came out and said, this woman is no longer alive. Again, just like this man here. Again, the next case, 2 people died. That's why nothing happened about it. They just kill you if you know too much and if you try and speak about this, because this is a very, very, very high-profile paedophile ring, the likes of which you've never seen. And the people get murdered over this. Like, a lot of people get murdered over this for trying to expose it, to be honest, because you live in a real sick world run by really sick people. And if everybody knew what really went on, we could maybe fix it. So this is Isaac Kappy. We'll play a bit more of this, and we'll move on to another one.
He said in several videos,
I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal.
it felt like a mantra, like he was trying to convince himself, or perhaps send a message to those who might try to silence him. I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. Kappy wasn't just an actor. In the year leading up to his death, he had become something else. An internet figure wrapped in controversy and conspiracy. He wasn't making movies anymore. Instead, he was making enemies. Powerful enemies. In 2018, Kappy started using social media.
So, sorry to pause it, I just wanted the list here. Lion of Judah, name of the channel. Who remembers Isaac Kappy, who exposed Hollywood's pedos? He said he wasn't suicidal. So, John Podesta, Jeffrey Epstein, obviously people will know that name. Prince Andrew, people know that name. The video is about generally in the first place. But there's some big names in here. Harvey Weinstein, I'm very aware of who that is. Seth Green. An actor was on. Austin Powers played the son of Dr. Evil. Seth Green. James Gunn, Dan Schneider. Steven Spielberg, very big name there. Tom Hanks, very big name. I have heard that name multiple times. Of this list here, names I was aware of on the Epstein list that I'd heard in passing. Donald Trump was on it as well when I heard in passing. Tom Hanks, I've heard multiple times. Epstein, obviously, we've had Prince Andrew, we're aware of that. Kevin Spacey, I was aware of. The rest of them are new to me, but I'm aware of Barack Obama, obviously. I'm aware of Jimmy Kimmel. Not quite sure who Stephen Colbert is, or Kathy Griffin. But, yeah, these are the names, some names named. Again, I've heard the name Tom Hanks mentioned several times. Along with Donald Trump and Kevin Spacey. So, yeah, this is some of the names, and again, there's no proof of it, but there is a bit of a weirdness with Tom Hanks later down the line here, and to do with Isaac Kappy's murder. Again, very much Illuminati symbolism, kind of weirdness from Tom Hanks. In the light of Isaac Kappy's death, it's how these people play games in many ways. Even after, if I get to that point in the video. So there's some names, and again, Harvey Weinstein, everybody knows what he was like. Prince Andrew, Epstein. Some of the names are kind of known. Yes, but Seth Green, he was particularly bad apparently, and Isaac Kappy knew him quite well. So there's some names. But it goes again a lot higher, a lot higher. It's like with Jimmy Savile in many ways. The book stopped at celebrities. They didn't get into the politicians and the royalty in England. It stopped at celebrities. Just like it very much as with the Epstein affair, but Prince Andrew was unlucky to get caught in it. But it's being absolutely swept under the rug. And the ultimate proof of that is we still do not have the Epstein files, right? There's the proof of it. We don't have it. I mean, I don't think they exist anymore. You would delete all these files because it incriminates you all, so delete them, would be the name of the game here. So I would imagine they've been deleted. But whether there's somebody's got a copy somewhere. But if somebody genuine had a copy, why wouldn't they release it on the internet? So I would suspect that these files have been deleted and we're never getting them. Because why would you release files that completely incriminate royalty, politicians, billionaires in the biggest paedophile ring in the world? It's very, very sick. They probably uses lower level paedophile rings like the Muslim rape gangs to acquire girls. And that's why they let the Muslim rape gangs and other things sort of carry on, because they serve a purpose. This is, you don't just go around snatching girls, you'll get caught. So you get lower level people to do it who are getting away with it. And then they pass you on the girls is kind of how it'll work. Again, there's this sort of depicted in the film Wanted in many ways of what goes on. And that's probably what goes on, to be honest, because there is a high-level paedophile network, as we know. And, yeah, how would these people get the girls? You can't imagine Tom Hanks just grabbing a girl off the street, or Steven Spielberg. That's not the way of it. These people will all turn up to weird eyes wide shut parties, and the girls will already be there. So there's a network of people acquiring these girls, and again, it'll have to go right down to the bottom for these girls to be got off the street, and then never be connected right up to the top here. The girls will be passed over. This is, I pretty much guarantee 99% is what is happening. So let's carry on. Isaac Cappy died for his knowledge.
Media to make bold, disturbing allegations against some of Hollywood's biggest stars. The accusations were almost unbelievable. Claims that Steven Spielberg, Stephen Colbert, Bill Clinton, and many others were involved in a secret pedophile ring. Cappy wasn't just some guy spouting nonsense. He had followers, loyal, devoted followers, who believed every word. One of his most chilling accusations was against actor Seth Green, who Cappy'd been friends with for over 30 years. Cappy claims he was at a party when a random child came up to him asking for Green, which Cappy found highly suspicious. According to Isaac, Green later showed off a hidden room where he had dim lighting and a bed and said, "This is where we keep the children."
Seth turned to me and opened up the secret bookshelf, and he's like, "This is where we keep the children."
Cappy also alleges that Green invited him to join the Illuminati, stating that he would be given $250,000 a year as well as any car that he wanted. Seth allegedly also told Isaac that they needed to talk about, which is code word for very young children. It was here that Cappy claims Green exposed his pedophile secret, revealing that he likes to have sex with kids. Cappy took to the streets and exposed this to the public.
Because Seth, Claire, and I were having a dinner at their house, and Seth said we now need to have a talk about chicken.
The internet was buzzing. People were divided. Some called him crazy and mentally unstable, while others saw him as a whistleblower, someone brave enough to stand up to the dark forces controlling Hollywood. But these weren't accusations that would just blow over. The conspiracy was out, and Cappy wasn't done yet. Then came the bombshell. Isaac Cappy accused Tom Hanks, America's favorite actor, of being involved in this same shadowy network. Tom Hanks, the man who played beloved characters like Forrest Gump and Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I mean, the thing you've got to remember here as well is Tom Hanks is an actor, right? He's an actor. All these roles that he played, like Forrest Gump and all the things that he mentioned, the man is acting. So don't think of the Tom Hanks as this lovely man, because the truth is you don't really know Tom Hanks. You know an actor that is a very, very good actor. Don't get me wrong, and I like the guy in his acting. Do you know what I mean? I like a lot of his films, but you can't let that cloud your judgment that this could be what's going on in the background. Do you know what I mean? Like, he might be a brilliant actor, but that's what he's doing. He's acting. So nobody really knows Tom Hanks in his personal life. Truthfully, we know the actor. And he can act at all times, you know what I mean? Because he's fucking real good at it. So we don't know who Tom Hanks is. We don't know his lifestyle, his background, or anything at all. Just as much as this might not be true because we don't know, we can't say it definitely isn't true because we don't know. But ultimately, it needs to be remembered that the man is an actor, and all these films like Forrest Gump, where he's a really good actor, but he's acting. So don't let that fool you into thinking that he's a really nice guy because he's acting. That's another side of it. So again, and I've heard Tom Hanks's name mentioned from the very beginning. Again, with Donald Trump in there as well. The rumors circulating, but he is as much as people who haven't been named, like Donald Trump. He's a name that's went around for years, Tom Hanks. So it's something I have heard before, but again, it's there is a bit of weirdness when Cappy dies. Tom Hanks does posts. Two things are a bit weird. I believe this woman was killed as well. She was exposing it as well, and she was murdered or committed suicide apparently. Very suspicious. All these people who were not suicidal, you heard him quite frankly say he wasn't suicidal quite a few times there. Because again, if you know fine well, it's like Epstein. I mean, is the perfect example. When you know too much, they will kill you because if you speak, you'll bring the house down. You will literally bring the house down if this gets out. So people are murdered. Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. Again, the whole Epstein didn't kill himself fucking campaign that went on for quite a while. Because he didn't kill himself, he was murdered in his jail cell. There's all dodginess with the cameras and all sorts of stuff. And he was obviously murdered because he knows too much. And if he speaks, it's also a warning to Guy Lane Maxwell. We will murder you if you don't shut the fuck up here. Right? That's it. Right? We will murder you. So Isaac Cappy, probably murdered for me, made it look like a suicide. There's another woman in a minute. Jeffrey Epstein, probably murdered, looked like a suicide. Yeah, if you know too much and you look like you're going to drop the ball, or in Epstein's case, he'd been arrested, so he was probably going to sell everybody out to get less time in jail. You get murdered, and that's the way of it. You do not turn on the... Again, because you swear an oath, that's the other side of this as well. It's a secret society in many ways. You swear an oath of allegiance, also pain of death. Should you turn coat on the allegiance, it's pain of death. And anybody trying to expose the real dark nature of our world, our politics, our celebrities, and everything that goes on in the background here, all kind of proved by Jeffrey Epstein, you will be murdered for trying to expose this. So that is where we are, but we're going to try and expose it anyway because, quite frankly, it's horrific, and who wants to live in a world where this goes on? None of us. So if you don't shine a light on something, then you'll never get it sorted, to be honest. So you've got to shine a light on it. You've got to pass on the information. Again, this fella Isaac Cappy probably lost his life in because of this. The woman later down the line here also lost her life. Always put down as suicide, just like Jeffrey Epstein. So that this is what they do. This is what they do.
Pet file? Hanks never responded. Neither did Green. It was as if they didn't want to give Cappy's accusations any legitimacy. But Cappy's followers, they believed him, and they believed he'd crossed a line, revealing secrets too dangerous to be known. As Cappy's claims grew louder, so did the fear among his followers that something terrible was coming. Things took an even darker turn in the days leading up to his death. Isaac posted a lengthy, unsettling message on Instagram where he talked about betrayal, betraying those close to him, using people for money. He called himself a bad guy. Again, that theme of darkness, the one he'd been alluding to for months, came up. He was haunted by it, consumed by something unseen. But through it all, he maintained one thing.
I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal.
And yet, on May 13th, 2019, he committed suicide. Jumped from a bridge, they said. Witnesses tried to stop him, to pull him back. But apparently he leaped before they could reach him. How could someone so adamant that he wasn't suicidal end up dead this way? And then, the internet did what it does best. It filled in the gaps. Theories began to emerge, and they were disturbing. Cappy had been silenced, they said. He had gotten too close to the truth. And those in power, the very people he had accused, had made sure he couldn't say anymore. One of the strangest pieces of evidence that fueled these theories was a tweet from Tom Hanks, posted just weeks before Cappy's death. The tweet showed a single glove lying on the ground along Route 66, the same road Cappy had died on just weeks later. The caption, "Historic Route 66. Roadkill?" For Cappy's followers, this was no coincidence. They believed Hanks knew what was coming, that this tweet was a message, a warning. And if that wasn't enough, Hanks posted again on the day Cappy died. This time, it was a handkerchief lying crumpled on the ground. Some believe this was more than just an innocent photo. In fact, it reminded them of another eerie detail: the deaths of high-profile individuals like fashion designer Kate Spade, who'd been found hanged with red scarves. Could this handkerchief be a symbol? A subtle nod to a larger, more sinister connection? The theories only grew from there. Cappy's followers pored over every detail, looking for clues, for signs. And to them, everything pointed to one thing: foul play. The name of the game is blackmail. Cappy said in one of his final live streams, "They want something on you that they can hold over your head. They film it, and then they own you." The deeper Cappy dug, the more enemies he had made. And the more enemies he made, the more paranoid he became. Cappy admits in many of his live streams that he was a very flawed individual, ridden with guilt, that he was not without fault and had many demons of his own. One example of this was seen when he choked Michael Jackson's daughter during a game night. Yeah, you heard that right. Cappy was friends with Paris Jackson, but Jackson distanced herself after Cappy allegedly choked her during a night game. The incident drove a wedge between them, and in the months that followed, Cappy's behavior became increasingly erratic. He sent rambling, cryptic messages to Jackson, which many now see as cries for help. Was Cappy losing his mind, or had he stumbled upon something real? That's the question his followers continue to ask. They believe he was silenced before he could reveal more, that this death was no accident, but a carefully orchestrated murder designed to keep Hollywood's darkest secrets under wraps. Then there was Tracy Twyman, an investigative journalist who'd been circling around the same narrative as Cappy, one where the world's most powerful people were involved in secretive, abusive practices shielded from public view. Twyman didn't just stop at Hollywood elites, however. Her work pointed to a global system where media moguls, political figures, and business leaders were involved in these deeply sinister activities. For Twyman, these weren't just conspiracies. She claimed to have uncovered real evidence of these connections through leaked documents, encrypted communications, and coded messages that she believed were being used to facilitate these heinous activities. What made Tracy Twyman's story even more compelling and chilling was how closely her work aligned with Isaac Cappy's allegations. Both of them were pointing fingers at the same powerful figures, claiming that Hollywood's elite were not just turning a blind eye to child exploitation, but were deeply involved in orchestrating it. Twyman and Cappy were digging into the same dark corners of Hollywood, and both were very public about the threats they received as a result of their work. In the weeks before her death, Twyman told close friends and colleagues that she was being followed, harassed, and threatened. Her emails and social media accounts were reportedly hacked, and she had become increasingly paranoid about her safety. Yet she continued her investigation, refusing to be silenced. One of Twyman's most explosive claims was that she had discovered an organized network of YouTube channels being used to auction children to the highest bidder. According to Twyman, these channels used coded language and symbols, innocuous to the untrained eye, to advertise and sell children to elite clientele. She traced these channels back to powerful figures, including some involved in the entertainment industry, and even linked them to a specific location, Greenleaf Canyon Campgrounds in Arizona. This campground, Twyman claimed, was part of a larger network of places where these trafficking activities occurred. She believed it was run by individuals with deep ties to organized crime and the occult, men who used their connections to shield their activities from law enforcement. Twyman's revelations painted a terrifying picture, one where the same elites who controlled the media, Hollywood, and politics were also operating in the shadows. using their influence to carry out unspeakable acts. But as Twyman got closer to exposing the truth, the threats against her became more serious. She confided in those close to her that she was being watched. Her home was under surveillance, and she feared for her life. Then, on July 10, 2019, just weeks after Isaac Cappy's death, Twyman was found, hanged in her garage. Her death was quickly ruled a suicide, but to those who knew her and to the many who followed her work, it felt all too familiar, eerily reminiscent of Cappy's tragic end. Like Cappy, Twyman had made it clear that she wasn't suicidal. She had reportedly stated that if anything happened to her, it would be because she'd gotten too close to the truth. The timing of her death, so soon after Cappy's, raised immediate suspicion.
Yeah, if you get too close to the truth, they will murder you. Again, Jeffrey Epstein is the ultimate proof of it, really. Again, the whole Epstein didn't kill himself trending hashtag, because he probably didn't. He knew too much. He knew everybody involved. And had that man spoken to get time out of jail, because he fundamentally was being painted as this big operator of a paedophile network. He is in no way the top of this paedophile network. He was nowhere near. So many heads will have rolled if Jeffrey Epstein ever opened his mouth. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell, she's on very thin ice, you know what I mean? Don't be surprised if she doesn't go fucking under at some point in a suicide. So yeah, this is what goes on, to be honest, and like there's loads of proof of it. Like, this is just two tales, this woman and this guy here. It's just two tales of many tales. They get swept under the rug in many ways. Again, I'll bring forth another one, which I won't play all of the video, but another complete case of exactly the same scenario, all the same people involved, high-level profile paedophile networks, and people committing suicide who knew about it. The amount of this that goes on is unbelievable. But ultimately, it's them keeping this quiet. The people are getting murdered to keep this quiet. And yet again, Epstein is the ultimate proof that they will murder you to keep this quiet. And Epstein was literally well involved, getting the thing. He was mates with all of these people. He was good friends with everybody. Yet they still murdered him to keep this quiet. So, again, people don't realise what they're dealing with here and the world we live in. That's a real big problem here. People can't grasp how fucking sick society is, and it's right at the top of society. So yeah, they'll never grasp it until it literally all comes out again. Nobody probably would have believed about Jimmy Savile till it all come out about Jimmy Savile. Same with probably Epstein. If somebody had mentioned Epstein before it all come out, nobody would have believed it. So it's one of them. People won't believe it till they're told. You know what I mean? And there's ultimate proof, even though there's all the dots. It looks real fucking suspicious all the time. People are committing suicide who are stating they're not suicidal. They know vital information about powerful people, and yet they all turn up dead. You know what I mean? If that's not fucking suspicious, what is? So this is what goes on. I've known this for a long time. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot more people trying to expose it. There's a lot more people died that you've probably never heard of because they died before they could get this information out to people. But it all is massively to do with Epstein, Jimmy Savile, very high profile paedophile rings within Great Britain, within America, around the world, to be honest. Yeah, this is really what's going on. I'll play the rest of this, but then I'll move over to this other video.
Among her followers. They believe that Twyman, like Cappy, had been silenced, eliminated before she could reveal the full extent of her findings. Adding to the mystery were the cryptic messages Twyman had shared in her final weeks. She spoke of powerful people trying to intimidate her, using fear and psychological tactics to push her to the edge. She even described instances of mind control, suggesting that the very people she was investigating had the means to manipulate her mentally and emotionally. Whether or not Twyman's death was truly connected to her work may never be known, but the parallels between her story and Cappy's are hard to ignore. Both were outspoken, both made powerful enemies, and both died under mysterious circumstances.
Yeah, so that's the crack. So that was Hollywood Hell, the channel. Only 1,770 subscribers. Probably more videos about Hollywood, because it's called Hollywood Hell. But yeah, so again, two people died investigating a high-profile network. Again, probably you'd never heard of them. So, last but not least, the channel's called King Trout. The pre-Epstein cover-up nobody talks about, King Trout. So I'll play a little bit of it. It's 18 minutes long, this, and the video's long enough, so I won't play it all, but this is a better video than the last one, to be honest. About a paedophile ring that got covered up because people apparently died in a plane crash. The people who had all the evidence to expose it all died in a plane crash with his son. Apparently, he just blew up in midair, so very, very suspicious yet again. High-profile network with the politicians, police, chief of police involved. Yeah, hold on, I'll play a bit of it, but if you want to watch it's King Trout's the channel.
Imagine a world where the U.S. government knows that children are being trafficked, and not just trafficked, abused, ritualistically and systematically. Imagine the victims testified, they named names, they provided evidence, flight logs, locations, dates, and photographs. Now imagine those victims who spoke up were silenced for doing so, and those they accused, well, they became even more powerful, or they simply disappeared. Far-fetched and hard to imagine, I know, but bear with me. Today we're going to talk about a time when that happened. And not that time, another time that happened. The Franklin scandal. I'm King Trout, and this one isn't going to be fun. Let's begin at the top. Lawrence E. King Jr. wasn't your average credit union manager. He wore silk suits, and he hosted private jet parties. He even sang the national anthem at Republican conventions. King had ties to some of the most powerful people in the country at the time. He also managed the Franklin Community Credit Union, which was a small-time bank in northern Omaha, Nebraska, meant primarily to serve the local black community. Things got a bit fishy in the mid-'80s, since the credit union was handling $40 million in assets, and King was living like a Saudi prince. He reportedly spent approximately $10,000 a month on travel and entertainment expenses, had luxury clothes flown in from Europe, and rented multiple properties both in Omaha, Nebraska, as well as Washington, D.C. He was getting paid a salary of $16,000 a year at the time. A 1988 audit by the National Credit Union.
So it's like Epstein. You're looked after, like when you're in this club, you're looked after, you're given money to be in the club. Like Epstein, like he was, like, again, it's like these people have all the money in the world. You're talking about the real rich people here. So yeah, you're well looked after is the crack, and it's part of why the people don't turn on it as well, because not only have they got the information and everything, but they pay you well to play along. Again, it's a real sick world, to be honest. Again, this whole affair, I don't want to play all the video, to be honest, because this video is long enough, and come and watch it on King Trout if you want to know the full crack. But it's very, very similar to Epstein, the high profile paedophile network. Somebody pretty much figured it all out, had all the fucking evidence, as he said there, and died in a plane crash before he could be exposed, as it always seems to be. So yeah, that's about the way of things here on planet Earth. So if you want to watch the rest of this video, I'll leave it there. The video is long enough. But come over to King Trout and watch the rest of it. And again, there's the amount of these cases, though, like it's unreal. Like unreal, the ones you've never heard of that point directly to a high-profile paedophile network that never gets exposed because people all go missing or turn up dead or commit suicide right before they're going to expose it. Well, coincidence. We'll leave it there. It's a bit like, again, Epstein is the ultimate proof, and Epstein didn't kill himself because they killed him because he knew too much. And again, that the heads will, like, the house will come down when all these names come out. So they probably never will, to be honest. If you kind of know the names, if you know the crack, you don't need the list because you know what's going on. But this list will probably be never produced. I'll be very surprised if they haven't deleted it. Why would you expose a list when the names on it is most of the people who you're asking to expose the list are on the list? They're not going to do that. That would be foolish. So yeah, it's going to roll on. But this is what goes on. There's a very, very high profile paedophile network. It was far higher than Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew. They're just the people who managed to get caught. Jeffrey Epstein is dead for that reason. And many other people have died as well. So this is the thing, people are dying out here trying to expose this fear, you know what I mean? Like, so maybe people should listen, and maybe we can put a stop to it as well. That's the other side of it. Maybe we can put a stop to this awfulness that goes on in the world. I'll leave it there anyway. Peace.